And a fine Tuesday to all of you out there. Transfer Tuesday, if you will, where every Tuesday on this show we're going through the most impactful transfers that you've got to know across the entire sport of college football. If you have a submission, by all means, drop it in the comments below or hit me up on X, formerly known as Twitter, at smclaughlincfb or at lockedon_CFB. Two guys that we need to be aware of today for the 2024 college football season. If you didn't know about them, then when they pop up on your screen come this fall, you would just be puzzled as to, wait, he went there? I thought he was here. Is he making an impact over there? Let's start with Quinshon Judkins. Let's start with Quinshon Judkins, who spent 2 years at Ole Miss and did nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing except produce. A guy who went for over 2,700 yards on the ground in 2 seasons. You know, a lot of running backs would call that a successful 3-year campaign, going for about 900 yards or more in 3 years. I mean, that'd be pretty darn good. Judkins did it in 2. This is a dynamic, versatile running back who, oh, by the way, might not be the top guy. He could be the top guy. It's going to depend on the day. This is an embarrassment of riches for Ohio State to have at the running back position. Quinshon Judkins is a certified killer. Absolute beast. He is a really, really strong force in the backfield. And so what does that mean for Ohio State? To be able to pair him with TreVeyon Henderson, it means you're going to get the best out of not just each other, but Will Howard as well. So Will Howard's been in college football for a few seasons now, and he's a guy whose numbers don't pop off the screen. When you look at them, you go, oh, wow, he's only had 1 season completing over 60% of his passes. Well, that's nothing to bat your eyelashes at. That's not super sexy. That's not anything like that. By the way, do you know the name Michael Penix? You might. He was at Washington. He threw for a few yards over the last couple of seasons and was playing in a big game most recently on January 8th. Michael Penix had just 1 season of college football in which he had completed over 60% of his passes prior to going to Washington and getting paired with the best receivers he'd been with the best offensive line he had ever had. Will Howard is going to have an elite cadre of receivers, the likes of which I don't think he's had at Kansas State. Emeka Egbuka likely to be the number 1 option there. Sure, Marvin Harrison Jr. is no longer in that particular room, but that's wide receiver U up there in Columbus. Will Howard is going to have an elite supporting cast, probably the best offensive line he's had yet in his college career. Now, the most productive season that Howard has had as the leader of a team was 2022. Kansas State won their first Big 12 championship since 2012. It had been a minute over there for the Wildcats, but Will Howard led them to that spot. And how did he do that? Was he slinging the ball all over the field? No, he didn't even start every game that season. He became the starter as the year went on and put up good numbers, a 15-4 touchdown to interception ratio. What else did he have? What was the other component of that Kansas State offense? I'm trying to put my Oh, that's right. He had Deuce Vaughn in the backfield. Deuce Vaughn, who was a certified stud. You talk about not the size of the dog in the fight, the size of the fight in the dog. Deuce Vaughn was a baller. Deuce Vaughn that year went for over 1,500 yards on the ground. And that is the most successful team season that Will Howard had whilst at Kansas State. You pair that with his best statistical individual season a year ago from a completion percentage standpoint, and you have the makings of somebody who is going to be fully supported the way he clearly needs to be, the way most quarterbacks need to be, though not all. Will Howard is not a bona fide first-round pick. He's not going to be a Heisman contender next year. He's someone who needs to go out and execute the offense at a high level. I don't think he needs to be C.J. Stroud. I don't think he needs to be a Justin Fields type player for Ohio State. I think he needs to go out there and be the best version of Will Howard, and Quinshon Judkins allows him to do that. Because when you have 2 running backs in the backfield, not 1 but 2, who can carry the load, who can be number 1 backs, who can have a hot hand, create explosive plays, help you in the check down and passing game as well, that is a tremendous help to a quarterback. And we know that Howard is not like the aforementioned Michael Penix, where he can drop back 40 to 50 times, throw the ball, we can run it for 40 yards and still have 500 yards of offense. That's not his game. He has to be supported. And Quinshon Judkins provides that. That is probably the best running back tandem in all of college football. I haven't heard one yet that is better than TreVeyon Henderson, who went for almost 1,000 yards this past year, and Quinshon Judkins, who has only had 1,000-yard seasons. So Ohio State skill positions are an embarrassment of riches. and they're a bona fide Big Ten national title college football playoff contender in 2024, and hope should be high in Columbus, as high as they've ever been under Ryan Day, at least since 2019. That was a very good team. Chris Olave was on that team. Justin Fields was on that team as the quarterback. They were very good, lost to Clemson in, shall we say, controversial fashion to Buckeye fans in the college football playoff semifinal. This Ohio State team is all in, and bringing in a guy like Quinshon Judkins, most teams would look at TreVeyon Henderson and say, oh my goodness, yippee-ki-yay, he's back. Yippee-ki-yay, look at that, we've got our number one running back, we don't need to add talent there. Not how Ohio State is thinking. They're going, we can get another talented playmaker? Yeah, let's get him the ball. Let's keep these guys fresh. Let's prevent them from having a higher likelihood of getting banged up. That is a dynamic running back tandem. I think you got a little thunder and lightning with Henderson being a little bit more thunder and Judkins being a little bit more lightning. That's a fantastic combo. They complement what Will Howard wants to do. He's going to be as supported, probably more supported than he's ever been in his college career as a quarterback. Speaking of quarterbacks, let's move to the other Power 2 conference. There are 4 power conferences, but let's be honest with ourselves, shall we? It's the top 2, and then it's the next 2. And the next 2 are above everybody else, but they're still the next 2. So the Big Ten is where Ohio State will contend. Over in the SEC, you may not think a lot about Arkansas. You probably don't think often about the Razorbacks, who missed a bowl game this year. KJ Jefferson's gone. He's in the Big 12 at UCF now, and Sam Pittman is there, and they've got a new offensive coordinator, and it's Bobby Petrino. Who'd they bring in at quarterback? Wait, if there's no KJ Jefferson, some of you, if you're really young listening to or watching this show, don't know Arkansas football without KJ Jefferson at the helm. Well, now they've got Talen Green. Talen Green comes to Arkansas by way of Boise State. The Broncos have swapped out Talen Green for Malachi Nelson, the former USC 5-star recruit who, to my knowledge, has not taken a snap in his college career, but is immensely talented. Boise State is building a Mountain West contender up there and could be the G5 team we see in the playoff next year. That's a different conversation. This one is about the Arkansas Razorbacks because Talen Green brings a lot of the same traits as KJ Jefferson. He is not a supremely high completion percentage guy, 59% over his 2 years as a Bronco playing on the Smurf turf up there in Boise. He is a big guy. He can move. He's got a huge arm, but he is streaky, and sometimes he struggles with turnovers. Why am I bringing up Talen Green on this particular show? Why am I bringing up a guy who's going to a sub-500 non-bowl participant team in 2023, coming from the Mountain West, going to the Power 5, 25 touchdowns, 15 interceptions? That's not exactly what you would like to see during your tenure as a starter. Why am I bringing him up? Because Arkansas does not have to radically change their philosophy. And I do not believe that Bobby Petrino is being brought in with this Sam Pittman football team. He's the CEO, head coach. I do not believe that he has brought in Bobby Petrino to radically shift what Arkansas is going to do next year. I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure how to feel about the Razorbacks. They're not incredibly relevant there. Here's what I do know about Talen Green. When he is off, he is way off, and you're going to struggle to compete and move the football and complete basic passes. When he is on, he looks like a borderline first-round NFL draft pick. And this Arkansas team is going to be supremely motivated with a coaching staff that is going to be looking for an iconic win to define their season, to propel them forward, to keep them off of the hot seat. Those motivations are very real over there in Fayetteville. And so for Arkansas to bring in Talen Green, I just wonder if that's not a guy who can't, on any particular Saturday, catch lightning in a bottle, have that great game, utilize his legs, sling it accurately with a ginormous arm, work with a veteran offensive coordinator in Bobby Petrino, and pull an upset next year. That's what I'm looking for from Arkansas, because that might be what they need to do. You have a season that was, by all accounts, a disappointment after getting to a bowl game the previous year. Things were trending up. Now things are trending back down. Things are trending back down after the 2023 season, and you don't want a repeat of that. And an upset win somewhere on that schedule for Arkansas, if Talen Green can become the most accurate he has been in his career, which is not a crazy concept for transfer portal quarterbacks at all. I go back to Michael Penix again. Was not a high completion percentage guy at Indiana. He gets better support around him at Washington, and boom, he's the nation's leading passer. I'm not projecting that for Taylen Green. But don't be surprised if you turn on your TV and you go, wait, is that KJ Jefferson? No, it's not KJ Jefferson playing for the Hogs over there in Fayetteville. It's Taylen Green. And he is a tremendously talented guy. And the Hogs wanted to bring him up from the G5 to the Power 4 ranks for a reason. They see something in him that makes him appealing. And I think it's a lot of the KJ Jefferson vibes. And do not be surprised if they're able to put the formula together to pull an upset led by the former Boise State Bronco. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. And until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.